Hi friends, welcome back to Perchetis Pulmonology. Hope you all are doing well during this COVID-19 pandemic. Today's topic is immunomodulators in COVID-19. As you know, during the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic, there are many patients who are going into cytokine storm. So drugs which are used to either to prevent or treat the cytokine storms are known as immunomodulators. Coming to the definition, is a chemical agent that modifies the immune response. Before COVID-19 also immunomodulators were used for many autoimmune conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, SLE and other things. So during COVID-19, the immunomodulators are used mainly during the cytokine storm. So what is cytokine storm? When there is an excessive release of cytokine more than the required amount. Normal amount of cytokine are required by the body in order to prevent the infection, but excessive amount causes multi-organ dysfunction and leads to death of the patient. And the drugs which are used in such situation like cytokine storms are known as immunomodulators. Either they prevent or treat the cytokine storm. There are many drugs which are available, but I have chose the following 6 drugs. That is steroids, interleukin 6 inhibitors, interleukin 1 inhibitors, Janus kinase inhibitors, monoclonal antibodies, and interferons. We'll be studying each of these drugs under the following headings: the trial under which it was approved, mechanism of action, dose and duration, and criteria for usage. So, coming to the first drug, that is steroids. Steroids for COVID-19 was approved under the trial, studied under the trial recovery trial. And what is the mechanism of action? Steroid, after entering the cell through the cell receptor, binds to the glucocorticoid receptors in the nucleus and causes the secretion of the anti-inflammatory protein, which prevents the cytokine storm. Anti-inflammatory protein suppresses the release of the cytokines like interleukin 6, interleukin 1, TGF beta, TNF alpha, and reduces the cytokine storm. So, what are the criteria for usage? It is mainly used in the patient receiving oxygen therapy, which may be in the form of simple oxygen, HFNC, non-invasive ventilation, or invasive mechanical ventilation. In patients without requirement of oxygen, it is used when there is an elevated inflammatory markers like CRP. And third indication is use of inhaled budesonide for patient with persistent fever and cough beyond 5 days of the disease onset. This is for the mild patient who are not on oxygen therapy, who suffer with fever and cough even after 5 days of the symptom onset. In the mild cases, inhaled budesonide can be used. So what is the dose? Two major steroids are used, that is the dexamethasone and methylprednisolone. Dexamethasone dose is 1.1 mg per kg body weight. It can be given either OD or in the BD in the severe cases. Injection methylprednisolone 0.5 to 1 mg, which can be extended up to 2 mg per kg body weight in severe diseases, and totally given for 5 to 10 days. And inhaled budesonide, as I already told, it's 800 microgram BD for 5 to 7 days. So this is about steroids. Going more into about recovery trial, it was a multicentral trial. It showed 28 days mortality and the hospital stay was less in the patient receiving steroids. That is mainly they studied about dexamethasone when compared to the placebo arm who was not giving the steroids. So according to that trial, we use steroid in the cytokine storm. Coming to the second drug, that is interleukin 6 monoclonal antibody receptor inhibitor, that is tocilizumab, and it was studied under the recovery trial. So what is the mechanism of action? It's in the name. Tocilizumab, which is a parent drug of the interleukin 6 receptor inhibitor, binds to the interleukin 6 receptor and prevent the binding of the interleukin 6 and prevents the cytokine storm. Okay, tocilizumab parent drug bind to the interleukin 6 receptor and prevents the attachment of the interleukin 6, which prevents the cytokine storm. So what is the criteria for usage of the tocilizumab? It's used in the worsening of the respiratory failure requiring the non-invasive ventilation or the invasive mechanical ventilation, and bilateral extensive lung disease with elevated interleukin 6 level. Interleukin 6 is a common inflammatory marker which you get during the rapid worsening of the respiratory failure. When such cases are there, it can be used and it can be used along with the steroids, which is also an immunomodulatory agent which is studied previously. So what is the dose? It's 8 mg per kg body weight, maximum of 200 mg. and it will be used as a single dose, because many trials showed that the second dose may not be that helpful, so most of the time it's used as a single dose. So what are the contraindications of the tocilizumab? It's contraindicated in pregnant women, hepatic derangement, that is a AST aminotransferases more than 5 times of the upper normal limit, severe bacterial and fungal infections, and absolute neutrophil count less than 500 cells per millimeter cube. Why it's contraindicated in low neutrophil count? Because interleukin 6 is an important cytokine which helps in preventing the infection. But when you suppress it in already immunosuppressive conditions, there will be risk of infection. So it is contraindicated in these conditions. Special info: there is risk of severe infection post therapy following the tocilizumab, because it's an important inhibitor of interleukin 6, and it should not be combined with the baricitinib, that is an JAK inhibitor, which are going to study in the next few slides. Okay, this is about tocilizumab. Coming to the third drug, that is interleukin 1 inhibitor, which is anakinra. Anakinra is mainly used for rheumatoid arthritis, so it has been tried in the COVID also. It is interleukin 1 monoclonal antibody receptor, that is a mechanism of action. Indications is hypoxic respiratory failure and elevated inflammatory markers like IL-1, CRP, LDH, and ferritin. Dose is 100 mg subcutaneous BD for 3 days, followed by 100 mg OD for the next 7 days. This is about interleukin 1 inhibitor. Coming to the important Janus kinase inhibitor. So what exactly is Janus kinase is? Janus kinase, it is an protein, which you can say kinase. As the word kinase, it helps in the phosphorylation of the protein involved in the immune mediation. So JAK inhibitors prevent the phosphorylation of the protein, which are involved in the inflammation and the immune mediation, that is mainly in the release of the interleukin 6. So that is how it serves as a cytokine storm. And one of the JAK inhibitors, that is a baricitinib, also has an antiviral activity. Okay, got it? JAK inhibits the phosphorylation of the protein involved in the synthesis of the inflammatory mediators like interleukin 6 and 1 and TNF alpha. So, and baricitinib also has an antiviral activity. So what are the different JAK inhibitors? That is, we have 3 different JAK inhibitors: baricitinib, tofacitinib, and ruloxatinib. Baricitinib, along with the prevention of cytokine storm, it also has an antiviral activity. It is used as a dose of 4 mg OD. Tofacitinib, it is used as 10 mg BD. Ruloxatinib, it is used 5 mg to 20 mg BD. Duration is for 14 days or until the hospital discharge. JAK inhibitors was studied under the trial, that is ACTT2, that is adaptive COVID treatment trial. So what are the indications? Rapid worsening of the respiratory failure, patient going to NIV invasive mechanical ventilation. Under the conditions where steroid cannot be used, we can use JAK inhibitors. And remember, important indication is to always use along with the remdesivir. It should not be used as a monotherapy, always use as a combination with the remdesivir. And presence of elevated inflammatory markers like CRP, interleukin 6, and interleukin 1. Special info: there is a presence of severe infection post therapy, because it's an important inhibitor of the interleukin. Can be used along with the steroids, and it's contraindicated in hepatic and renal impairment. And renal impairment, EGFR should be less than 30, and it's contraindicated in pregnancy. Okay, this is about Janus kinase inhibitor. Trial is adaptive COVID treatment trial 2. Okay, coming to the next drug, that is interferon 2. Interferons are the important proteins in the body which prevents released by the infected cells, which prevents the infection of the surrounding cells. So SARS-CoV-2 is an intelligent virus. It prevents the release of the interferon, so that the surrounding cells don't know that there is an infection in their neighboring cells. So interferon 2 mainly helps in warning the surrounding cells and helps in preventing the virus replication. It is known as pegylated. PEG is pegylated. Pegylated, it is a protein attached to the interferon in order to increase the half-life of the drug. Dose is 1 microgram per kg body weight, which is given subcutaneous route as a single dose. Criteria for usage: mainly approved for the moderate disease. Moderate disease is saturation anywhere between 90 to 94. and respiratory rate from 24 to 30 per minute. Around for this disease it is approved and is to be used within first 5 days along with the first 5 days of the symptom onset of the moderate disease along with the supportive management. Supportive management includes oxygen, antivirals and other things. Okay, interferon, mechanism of action, dose, criteria for usage. Contraindication is pregnancy, chronic kidney disease and the thyroid disorder. This is all about interferon 2 alpha beta. Okay, there are many other interferons which are also used, but I have chose interferon 2 alpha beta, which is because it is most commonly used. Okay, coming to the last immunomodulator, it is an hero or a debut star which I can say among the immunomodulators. It is a many monoclonal antibodies are available, but the important two are casirivimab and imdivimab. It is in combination is known as Regeneron. It was used for the US President Donald Trump, as you all know. So, what is the dosage that you use? Dosage is 1200 milligram of casirivimab and 1200 milligram of imdivimab. Means total of 2400 as a single dose IV, given over 2 to 3 hours. What we ideally do in is in around 250 ml of NS, we can remove 20 ml NS and we can add 10 ml of each drug. Each drug comes as a 10 ml combination. Casirivimab is 10 ml and imdivimab is 10 ml. So combination will be 20. If you remove 20 ml from the 250 ml NS and inject these to 20 ml, it will become 250 and it can be given over a single dose over 2 to 3 hours. So what is the indication? Indication, it is used mainly in the non-hospitalized patients. Patients should not be hospitalized and should not be on the oxygen supplementation, and the symptom onset should be less than 7 days of the disease. More than 7 days it won't be helpful. Ideally is 3 to 5 days. It can be extended up to 7 days. And there should be presence of the high risk of progression to the severe disease based on the risk factors like age more than 65 years, BMI more than 30 kg per meter square, presence of CKD, CLD, immunosuppressive conditions, and on patients on immunosuppressants. These are also the indications or criteria for usage of the monoclonal antibody. Mechanism of action: monoclonal antibody prevents the binding of the or entry of the virus into the cell. That is ACE2 receptor mainly. This is the mechanism of action of the monoclonal antibody. Okay, combination of casirivimab and imdivimab and Regeneron. Dosage is 1200 milligram of both the drug, casirivimab and imdivimab, total 2400, comes as a 10 ml of each solution, given in over 2 to 3 hours in an 250 ml NS or 500 ml MS. Okay, these are the 6 drugs of immunomodulators. These information I have provided just for the PGs or the interns or the non-medicos. These are not you like when you're practicing for clinical practice. Follow your guidelines for the hospital. These are just for the information of the drugs. Okay, these need not be used exactly as an indication. Okay, that is a disclaimer. Okay, thank you. Any feedbacks or any doubts, please message me. Thank you.